What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy. My name is Paul, aka Senjo, and welcome to Melo Media. This is my Melo Story. Um, I did a first part of this segment of our production. I think earlier today is I think sometime last week. And from the feedback that we got, some of you are like, "No, it's too short. It's too, you know." So I decided to come back with a part two and give you a much more detailed story. I from way back, I've always loved to tell stories, and I was given this chance to tell my story regarding my affiliation and how I came to be a part of this great team called Melo Media. So I think in the first part, I explained how the interesting story of how I became a part of this great team. If you haven't, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna retell that story. I'm urging you to go back to our timeline, you'll find the story, and just listen to it. I think it's even going to be easier for you to pick up from where I'm gonna start today. And just before we get too far, I need to say this. During this recording, you may hear some voices in the background, you may see some people, and that's because this is not an actual studio. We're doing this from an actual residence where actual and real people live. So, yeah, I just thought I needed to say that. Yeah, so getting right into it, my Melo story. So, after I met up with my gaffer and we had a talk. We shared ideas, and immediately we got right onto it. And fast forward, Melo Media is where it is today. But today, I just want to bring to light some of the hidden lessons, and I like to call them blessings because if I had not affiliated myself, if I had not softened my heart and just gone with this thing, even though I wasn't getting much material from the start from it, uh, I have gone through it. I have learned a lot of lessons and a lot of valuable takeaways from it. So, um, basically, today I want to talk about from the Melo story. I want to bring to light the fact that sometimes the biggest breakthroughs or the biggest lessons or the biggest answers are in the questions that we always ask. The biggest breakthroughs in the quests that we always get onto do not come from the perspective from which we always look at life. Sometimes you can be looking at a cube from one side, and your focus is doing things based on that perspective. But at the end of the day, if you find that things are not working out the way, or you're not seeing exactly what you want to see, the next best step is to move to the side and see what's on the other side of the cube, because the cube has, I don't know how many sides, but you can count for me. But the point is, a cube always has a lot of sides, and you limit yourself if you're going to focus on just one side. In saying that, what I'm saying is, when I lost my job, the story about how, or relating to how I lost my job, is in the previous video. So I'm not gonna delve into it or dwell on that. But when I lost my job, um, I sat down and I was telling myself to say, I have a family and my marriage is relatively young. And me losing my job is kind of a blow on my small family. So how am I going to pick it up from here? So in my mind, I was very calm, very comfortable, because I've always believed from very earlier times in my life that the best way to make it in life is by using or applying your natural abilities and your innate abilities. So in my mind, I was like, the next step I'm gonna make isn't sitting down to draft applications. Up to now, from the time I lost my job, I've never done that. So when I came in contact with my Melo, when I started leaning towards my Melo link, what was going through my mind is, this could be the breakthrough I've been praying for, because uh, I have this strong inclination towards the media, but I'm not just going to wake up one day and be on ZNBC as a presenter. I'm not just going to wake up one day and be the best presenter at whatever other media houses there is. Um, locally or outside, because when you're thinking beyond your initial circles. So for me, when I looked at Melo, I was like, this is the best chance for me to start my journey. I've always believed, I've always thought this is how things are gonna be, but beyond the believing and beyond the thinking, this is a time for me to start acting. You know what I mean? So when I got the call, or rather when I got the link, I sat my partner down, of course, and I explained to her, I was like, you know what, if I look for another job based on my academic abilities or my academic prowess, looking at the things that we want to achieve together, it's gonna take me a lot more time to achieve these things if I get onto another 9 to 5, or is it 8 to 5, 8 to 6, I don't know. The jobs that you normally do from 8 to 17 or whatever. But the point is, I explained to her to say if I get onto one of these, it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to take a lot more time for us to get to where we want to get and achieve what we want to achieve as a family. So I had to explain to her and put her on a page where we were able to relate, and where our thinking was synchronized. So luckily she agreed and she tapped into my vision. And when I told her there's Melo Media, there's this and this and this going on, she's like, okay, you go for it. So besides Melo Media, I have I have had other things that I was doing, which are not directly media related, but in a way they come together and meet at some point. So even for the other things that I was doing, I had explained to her to say, if we go with Melo Media, it's going to supplement the other things that we're doing. And then at Melo Media, they're willing to allow us to utilize some of the resources in order for us to empower ourselves, even as we try to look for other sources of surviving and just being as a family. So we got there, and um, during um, my affiliation and through all the things that I have done with Melo Media, I have had support in terms of logistical facilitating of the projects that we have been doing. A lot of people find it unbelievable and overly amusing when I tell them to say, because usually I move around with gadgets. I move around with a D with a I mean an HD camera, a Canon. I move around with you find me with a stabilizer, a gimbal. You find me with tripod stands. You find me with a lot of things. And people come to me and they ask to say, you're not. We understand that you're not yet into serious employment and these other things, but how do you manage to acquire all these things, or how have you been able to do all these things in such a short space? And you know what? Because through my experiences, I have learned that if you want to progress, or if you want to elevate in life from one position to another, you have to value honesty. Because sometimes you find yourself in the company of people who can actually help you, but because you put pride before humility, you find yourself stagnant. You find that you're not growing as a person. So whenever people ask me, I'm not, you know, I have friends who have told me point blank that you're too honest. You sometimes you can it doesn't hurt to tell a little lie. So I'm not I don't though I don't really think I'm too honest, but then I just feel like when it comes to things to do with business and other things, of course I've made mistakes in the past. Of course there were times when I wasn't completely honest, but now I feel like honesty should be on top of everything that you do. It should be on the summit, because you never know who you're speaking with. So whenever friends ask me to say, but how do you have these gadgets? And how, when I tell them I didn't buy this, somebody entrusted me with these things, and I'm on the corporate belt, and this person is in Lusaka. They think I'm bluffing or I'm just exaggerating. But the thing is, when you soften your heart, when you position yourself at a place where if you come across the opportunities that you've been waiting for, if you come across the things that you've been preparing yourself for, when those things come to you, you will know how to utilize them, and the people will trust you because you are not doing things to show and tell, and you value those things. So for me, um, despite not being able to do certain things, uh, when you align yourself with someone who has a vision, it also allows you to grow as an individual, you know, because every business has a person who has a vision before it starts, they implement it, and then they bring people on board who they think they can carry that vision with. So if you allow yourself to work with the person who's got a vision and you tap into the vision beyond what you can benefit from whatever that endeavor is in the real time or in the nearest future. If you look beyond that and look at the bigger picture and look at where that thing is going and apply yourself in honesty, apply yourself um, to the best of your ability, there's a lot of ways in which you can get more than what you bargained for. Get it from me. I've seen this. So, this is my little testimonial. Of course, we go through life and we meet people, we experience things, we do all sorts of things. But because we have met people before, because we have done things before, we tend to neglect the little things that put together shape us into who we are ultimately as a being or as a professional or in whatever aspect of your life. So it's always good to look back and just appreciate the little things that have helped you to get on the next step on the ladder that leads you to the heights that you want to achieve. So for me, I have decided to um, give attestation to this beautiful story, my affiliation with Melo. Of course, right now we're still growing and we still get a lot of support from you guys. And through the little things that we're able to do, we are seeing the impact that Melo has and has had on people. And we are proud to say we are ready to take Melo to the next level. We are ready to take over the world through the different innovations that we are trying to attach to the big umbrella. And yeah, we are Mellow and we are inviting you guys, if we have touched your life in any way, just come through and tell your little story. Like I said in the previous video, you never know who it might inspire, you never know who might be listening. And yeah, life is beautiful like that. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. If there's anything that you may need to get clearly, if there's anything I may have said scantily, or if there's anything that you feel I should tell relating to this big frame of a story that I've told, you're always free to leave a comment or a question in the comment section. And this is my earlier blow. So I'll be glad enough to come back and record another video just to tell a part of a story that I may have left out or that you feel needs a bit more clarity. But for now, this has been your boy Senjo, and thanks for listening to my little story. And this has been my Melo story on Melo Media. Shout out.